Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? The Saints are headed up to New England this week to try to get back on the right track. They play the Patriots, and I understand completely why a lot of people have had their confidence in this team shaken after this last week. It was awful. I mean, it was arguably the worst, wasn't arguably, statistically, it was the worst offensive performance of the Sean Payton era. But similarly, you shouldn't have been too high after the Green Bay win. We talked about this last week. I picked the Packers to win. I picked the Saints to win. They did. Didn't think it would go as one-sided as it did. I thought Carolina would win. Didn't, again, think it would be as one-sided as it was. But the truth of this team is going to lie somewhere in the middle, and I think it's important, as I've said over and over, that they get to 3-2 going into the bye. So find a way to win 2 of your next 3. You got a great opportunity this week in New England because you're taking on a rookie quarterback, Mac Jones, albeit on the road in Foxborough. But this New England team is 1-1 on the season right now. They lost to Miami 17-16. And then they beat the Jets 25-6. And they beat the Jets. And my point with this I'm getting at is I think there's a pretty clear Achilles heel that is developed early for this New England team. The Jets outgained New England by 76 yards. The big difference is when the field shrunk, talk about the red zone, New England through 2 weeks has not been very good. New England is averaging 5.7 yards per play from its own end zone until the opponent's 20. So that 80 yards of field, right? They're averaging 5.7 yards a play. In the red zone, it drops to 1.5 yards per play. The New England Patriots presently have the worst red zone conversion rate in the NFL. 32 teams in the NFL, New England converting on 28% of their red zone chances is dead last. 32 out of 32. New England is through 2 weeks, is the worst team in the NFL in the red zone. By contrast, do you care to take a guess at who is the best team through 2 weeks at converting in the red zone with 100% of their red zone opportunities converted into points? I think you know where this is going. Your New Orleans Saints. Actually, Jacksonville's converted on 100% as well, so maybe you just crumple this thing up and throw it into a ball. But the Saints are 100% in the red zone, number 1 in the NFL. New England, dead last in the NFL, converting just 28% in the red zone. Basically, they can't run the ball in the red zone, and they don't trust Mac Jones to throw it in the red zone just yet. So this is an area where you could very likely see the Saints make this a lower scoring game because of New England's inability to convert in the red zone. And by contrast, the Saints have converted those opportunities, and that could be your difference. Now, obviously, New Orleans needs to get more weapons on the field. When Sean Payton was on his teleconference on Monday meeting with reporters, he was asked about the wide receivers and their inability to separate against the defensive backs from Carolina on Sunday.
Well, I don't know that the separation was more of a problem than having a chance to set and be protected. You know, there were too many times free rusher, too many times where our communication wasn't on point. And so I wouldn't look at that as A1 or the first thing.
Separation was part of the problem. The bigger problem was obviously protection. And Peyton was asked, is that more on Cesar Ruiz? Is that more on Jameis Winston?
It's the group in its entirety. It's our offensive line. It's our quarterback. It's us also relative to a game plan. Having good answers versus some of the looks we got. And quite honestly, once we struggled to handle a look or two, we just got more of it. So we've got to have a better plan. I said that after the game, and that starts with me. We've got to have a better plan to put our guys in a better position, but it's not one group.
There was an interesting tidbit about how all the years that Drew Brees was in New Orleans, he called out the protections. And without Drew Brees, Eric McCoy was calling the protections. And then McCoy gets injured, and so now you have a new quarterback and new center. It goes kind of part and parcel with what we've talked about with why the center is so important. When you're making the calls, you're handling the ball every play, you got that synergy. Like, it matters. It mattered on Sunday. And here's hoping another week can cause it to steady just a little bit. Specifically with the receivers, I don't know what direction the Saints go to get help. I had somebody comment on, so we take the show content, we put it on the After Further Review YouTube channel. I had someone in the YouTube comments on the After Further Review Saints page, say, look, can we agree at least at this point that the Saints won't win because they could win with Jameis Winston. They're not going to win because of Jameis Winston. My response was, hey, can I just wait and see what this offense looks like when you have Michael Thomas? Can I wait and see what this offense looks like when you have a full complement of your offense? Because, I agree that at this point it's pretty clear Marquez Callaway isn't ready to be a number one in the NFL. That's okay. But Mike Thomas is. The guy that when everybody in the stadium knows you're getting the ball, you still throw it to him, he still makes the catch. That's a number one. Could Marquez Callaway be a 2 or a 3, a complementary piece? Could he be Emmanuel Sanders? Maybe. And I want to see that. And we're going to have an opportunity because Mike Thomas is going to come back. So just think about last year, what it did to the Saints offense when Mike Thomas went down. Alvin Kamara last year was the Saints' leading receiver in 4 of the games that Michael Thomas was out. You relied so heavily on one guy because 13 wasn't on the field. Put 13 on the field, it changes all of the math. It changes all the dynamics. Let me see Mike Thomas back. Let me see Marquez Callaway as a number 2 or number 3. Is Tre'Quan Smith going to be healthy enough to be any type of a contributor this year? I mean, I don't think he'll ever be. I've told you. I mean, I'm punting Tre'Quan Smith in New Orleans. Whatever he may be on the team this year, great, grand. But I'm no longer emotionally invested in Tre'Quan Smith. If he comes back and can make an impact, fantastic. What about Adam Troutman's continued development? We need to see more of that. So let me see what it looks like when it's whole. Let me see what it's like when you have your full offensive line intact, your all-pro wide receiver, NFL Offensive Player of the Year receiver, healthy and rolling in this offense. That's when I think I can tell you a better feeling overall about Jameis and how he's going to function within this offense. The other thing to keep an eye on this week is the Saints did restructure Tre'Quan Smith's contract. ESPN's Field Yates reported that Tuesday morning. And they restructured it to create almost $1 million in cap space. And the reason they did that, very likely, and this hasn't hit the transaction wire yet, but I'm going to go ahead and make this assumption, is so they can sign Kenny Stills from the practice squad to the active roster. Because when you sign Stills, when you sign a player, the numbers are, on the practice squad, he's at $238K. If he jumps up to the active roster, he gets the veteran minimum for a guy that's been in the NFL as long as he has. That's $1.075 million. That's the veteran minimum for his years of service. So you're going to need that extra $800K thereabouts. Well, it makes a lot of sense. You go restructure Tre'Quan to create some cap space. So if you're signing Kenny Stills, you have another receiving option. I don't know. I'm not telling you Kenny Stills at this point in his career is going to go be a 1,000-yard receiver, but can Kenny Stills at this point in his career be a more viable option than whoever was the number 1 or 2 or 3 Sunday in Carolina? It's worth finding out, isn't it? So I'm not punting on the offense. I'm certainly not punting on the season. I'm just not overreacting. I didn't overreact to the Green Bay win. I'm not going to overreact to the Carolina loss. You can't have 5 starters out from week to week and expect no drop-off. Let's see what this team looks like when they're closer to whole. If they get C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Lattimore back this week, I love the Saints' defense against Mac Jones if you throw C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Marshawn Lattimore out in that secondary this coming Sunday. And then you give this offense an opportunity to look at what it did wrong, fix it, and get better this week in New England. Maybe go up there and pull out a win. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.